I'll never forget the sound my car made right before it died on the side of the highway. It was an awful, metallic grinding noise that basically echoed my bank account emptying. It wasn't just the tow truck bill or the $1,000 repair that had my stomach in knots. It was the suffocating feeling of having zero control. It was that frantic math you do in your head, trying to figure out which bills to pay late, what you could sell, or who you could borrow from without feeling like a total failure. That moment, stranded and powerless, was the breaking point. I knew something fundamental had to change. Fast forward to today. An unexpected expense, even a big one, doesn't send me into a panic spiral anymore. My relationship with money, with the future, with my own sense of calm, it's all been completely transformed. And it all started with one goal: building an emergency fund. You've probably heard a million times that you should have one. But what nobody really tells you is what happens after. You spend months, maybe years, diligently saving. You watch that number in your savings account slowly tick up, sacrificing and staying disciplined. And then you finally hit your goal, 3, maybe 6 months of living expenses just sitting there. You might think that money just sits there, but it doesn't. You spend months, maybe years, diligently saving. It's not a passive pile of cash, it's an active force. It's the catalyst that fundamentally rewires your brain, reshapes your decisions, and changes the entire trajectory of your life. So, let's talk about the profound and honestly surprising ways your financial life shifts after you have that safety net in place. Before we get into the after, we have to talk about the before. To really get how big this shift is, you have to acknowledge the weight of the life you're leaving behind. Living without an emergency fund is like walking a tightrope with no net. Every step is tense. Every little wobble feels like it could lead to a catastrophic fall. And this isn't just a metaphor, it's a daily reality for millions. Financial anxiety is rampant. Recent studies show that for nearly 7 in 10 Americans, money uncertainty has made them feel depressed and anxious. A staggering 87% of people feel financial stress at least once a week. This isn't just background noise. It's a primary source of stress that seeps into every corner of your life, the prison of financial fragility. Living in that state of financial fragility is like being in a prison with invisible bars. The constant, low-grade anxiety just becomes your normal. You might not even notice it after a while, but it's there, steering every choice you make. It's why you say no to a friend's destination wedding. Not just because of the cost, but because you're terrified of what could happen while you're gone. What if the furnace breaks? What if you get a flat tire? The what-ifs are tyrants and they run your life. This anxiety takes a physical toll. Studies have shown financial stress is a leading cause of sleepless nights, with 63% of Americans saying money worries have kept them up at night. You're lying awake at 3 a.m., your mind racing, trying to find dollars that just aren't there. It wrecks your focus at work. It's hard to be present in a meeting when part of your brain is dreading a credit card bill. Research found that many financially stressed workers admit it negatively impacts their productivity on the job. That's valuable time and energy lost to worry, which can tank your performance and make it harder to get a raise or promotion. The very thing that could help you escape the cycle and your decision-making, it's perpetually compromised. You're not operating from a place of logic. You're operating from pure survival. You stay in a toxic job you hate because the thought of being without a paycheck for even a week is just too terrifying. You make choices about your health, putting off a doctor's visit because you're more afraid of the bill than the actual health problem. But the most insidious part of this cycle is the debt. When you have no cash buffer, every unexpected event becomes a reason to swipe a high-interest credit card. This isn't a moral failing, it's a mathematical certainty. Without a fund, debt is often your only tool. But it's a tool that builds its own prison. The emergency doesn't end when the car is fixed. It lingers for months or years as interest payments, digging you deeper into the hole. You're constantly playing defense, just patching holes in a sinking ship. The turning point, hitting the goal. Then, one day, it happens. After all the discipline and automatic transfers, you log into your bank account, and you see it. Your number. The amount you calculated for 3 or maybe 6 months of your essential expenses. It's done, the fund is full. The first feeling isn't always some big explosion of joy. More often, it's a quiet, profound, and almost weird sense of peace. That constant low-grade hum of anxiety you've lived with for so long suddenly just stops. It's like a loud refrigerator shutting off. You only realize how much noise it was making once it's gone. You can breathe again. Your shoulders, which were tensed up to your ears, finally drop. This moment is the line in the sand between before and after. You've spent all this time focused on the act of saving. Now you get to experience the power of what you've built. That number on the screen isn't just a number. It's a fortress. It's security. And that feeling of relief? It's just the beginning. The real transformation, the deep psychological shift, is what comes next. By the way, if this is resonating with you, or if you're on this journey yourself, do me a favor and hit that like button. It really helps the channel, and it lets me know that this is the kind of content that helps you the most. Now let's get into what that transformation actually feels like. This is the core of it. This is what truly changes you. Having a fully funded emergency fund is like a masterclass in your own psychology. First, your mental operating system gets a massive upgrade, shifting from scarcity to security. When you're living paycheck to paycheck, your brain is wired for scarcity. Every dollar is precious and about to disappear. With an emergency fund, that wiring changes. The fear of a single event wiping you out is gone. You're no longer making decisions from desperation. You're making them from a place of security. You start thinking long-term. You can look at a job offer based on its potential for growth, not just its starting salary, because you have a buffer. You move from a defensive crouch to an offensive stance in your own life. Second, you reframe a crisis into an inconvenience. This is one of the most powerful changes you'll feel. Before, the check engine light was a crisis. It meant debt, stress, and a week of ramen. Now, the check engine light is just an inconvenience. It's annoying, sure. It messes up your day. But it doesn't destabilize your entire life. You know the money is there. You transfer the funds, pay the bill, and move on. The emotional drama is gone. A leaky roof, a broken washing machine, an unexpected medical bill. They get downgraded from catastrophes to simple problems on your to-do list. This new reality builds a deep, quiet confidence and freedom. It's knowing you can handle a major setback on your own. It gives you what many call get-lost money. The freedom to walk away from a horrible boss, a dead-end job, or a bad living situation without worrying about immediate financial ruin. You have the power to say no. You have leverage. You're no longer a passenger being tossed around by your circumstances. You're the pilot, able to chart your own course. Finally, all of this leads to better decision-making. When your brain isn't hijacked by stress, you can think more clearly. The mental energy that was once consumed by a $500 car repair is now free to learn about investing or plan for your 5-year goals. If you lose your job, you don't have to desperately take the first offer that comes along. You can use your emergency fund as intended, take a month or two, and find a job that's a truly good fit. Your decisions become proactive instead of reactive. You're no longer just surviving, you are architecting your future. On top of the psychological changes, your day-to-day financial life gets a serious upgrade. The most immediate change is you break the toxic cycle of high-interest debt. That credit card that was your emergency plan. It's now just a tool for convenience that you pay off in full every month. Think of the thousands of dollars in interest you won't pay over the next decade. That money now stays in your pocket, free to be used for building wealth. Your emergency fund also becomes the ultimate guardian of your long-term goals. Before, a surprise bill might have forced you to raid your retirement account. A catastrophic setback, not just because of the money you take out, but the lost growth you can never get back. Your fund is a firewall, protecting your investments from short-term panic. It makes sure a temporary problem doesn't permanently wreck your future. And here's something powerful. The act of building the fund accidentally trained you to be good with money. You had to budget, track your spending, and delay gratification. Those skills don't just vanish. They're your new normal. You're a planner now. This makes the next steps, like investing, feel totally achievable instead of impossible. You've already proven to yourself you can do it. The new horizon. What's next? So you did it. You escaped the prison of financial fragility. You've got peace of mind. What's next? What do you do with all this newfound security? This is where the real fun begins. Your emergency fund isn't the finish line. It's the starting line for building actual wealth. With your defense set, you can finally go on offense. The money you were aggressively shoving into savings can now be rerouted to more powerful goals. Now you can start seriously investing. You can contribute to your retirement accounts without that fear of needing to pull the money out early. You can open a brokerage account and start letting your money work for you through things like low-cost index funds. You can start planning for a down payment, your kids' education, or even starting a business. The emergency fund is the stable foundation you can now build a skyscraper on. The journey from financial stress to security is a process, and the emergency fund is the single most important first step. But it doesn't end there. If you're ready to learn how to take that next step, how to start investing, setting up your retirement accounts, and building a real financial plan, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. We'll be covering all of that right here. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments. If you have your fund, what was the biggest, most surprising way it changed your life? And if you're still building it, what are you most looking forward to? Building an emergency fund is so much more than checking a box on a financial to-do list. It's a transformative act. It's a declaration that you deserve peace and security. That pile of cash does more than just wait for a disaster. It actively works for you every single day by lowering your stress, improving your health, and clarifying your decisions. It unlocks a future with more freedom and opportunity than you might have thought possible. It turns down the volume on the world's chaos so you can finally hear your own voice and design a life on your own terms. It's not just about money. If you've been living one crisis away from collapse, it's time to change that. Start building your emergency fund today. $10, $20, whatever you can. Your future self will thank you. Subscribe to Theo's Wealth Culture for simple, powerful steps that help you escape paycheck to paycheck living and step into financial peace.